Shalom everyone. Hope everybody's doing good this night, and those of you who celebrated the Shabbat tonight, I hope that it was a blessed one for you. So I'm going to go ahead and start the Torah portion. The Torah portion today is called Tetze. Wait a minute. Okay, so yeah, it's Tetze, and it means when you go forth. And this is going to be in the Torah portion, Deuteronomy 21, chapter 21, verse 10, through chapter 25, verse 19. When you go out to war against your enemies, and Yahuwah your God gives them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house, she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured, and shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother a full month. After that you may go in to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you no longer delight in her, you shall let her go where she wants, but you shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. If a man has two wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him children, and if the firstborn son belongs to the unloved, then on the day when he assigns his possessions as an inheritance to his sons, he may not treat the son of the loved as the firstborn in preference to the son of the unloved, who is the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved, by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the firstfruits of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and though they discipline him, will not listen to them, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his city at the gate of the place where he lives. And they shall say to the elders of his city, "This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard." Then all the men of the city shall stone him to death with stones. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel shall hear and fear. And if a man has committed a crime punishable by death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night on the tree, but you shall bury him the same day. For a hanged man is cursed by God. You shall not defile your land that Yahuwah your God is giving you for an inheritance. Okay, so clearly in the New Testament, Jesus was hung on a tree. And Yahuwah says that any man who's hung on a tree was cursed. So what does that say about the New Testament? What does that say? That it's lying. Because here we're reading, in Deuteronomy 21, where it's saying completely the opposite of what Yahuwah says. And I don't think Yahuwah is going to go against his own decree. Or whatever the precepts, whatever this is. Okay? He's not going to go against it. But he's going to test you to see if you will. And so far, all these Messianics, all these Christians are failing miserably. Because Yahuwah is testing you. And you don't see it. You shall not see your brother's ox or his sheep going astray and ignore them. You shall take them back to your brother, and if he does not live near you, and you do not know who he is, you shall bring it home to your house, and it shall stay with you until your brother seeks it. Then you shall restore it to him. And you shall do the same with his donkey, or with his garment, or with any lost thing of your brother's, which he loses and you find. You may not ignore it. You shall not see your brother's donkey or his ox fallen down by the way and ignore them. You shall help him to lift them up again. A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak, for whoever does these things is an abomination to Yahuwah your God. If you come across a bird's nest in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, and the mother sitting on the young or on the eggs, shall not take the mother with the young. You shall let the mother go, but the young you may take for yourself, that it may go well with you, and that you may live long. When you build a new house, you shall make a parapet for your roof, that you may not bring the guilt of blood upon your house, if anyone should fall from it. You shall not sow your vineyard with two kinds of seed, lest the whole yield be forfeited, the crop that you have sown, and the yield of the vineyard. You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You shall not wear clothes of wool and linen mixed together. This is important. This is really important. I've seen a lot of brothers and sisters talk about this, about mixing our clothing, the types of clothing that we have, because of the patterns, and they can disrupt our I don't know, if it, like our body temperature, our pH levels, it can throw them off. So I'm seeing this more and more. Okay, you shall make yourself tassels on the four corners of the garment with which you cover yourself. And those are your tzitzits. Your tzitzits, see? Gotta have 4 of them. This is what Numbers 15:28 says. You gotta wear these. And here we're seeing it again. Okay? These are commanded. If any man takes a wife and goes into her and then hates her and accuses her of misconduct and brings a bad name upon her, saying, I took this woman, and when I came near her, I did not find in her evidence of virginity, then the father of the young woman and her mother shall take and bring out the evidence of her virginity to the elders of the city in the gate. And the father of the young woman shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man to marry, and he hates her. And behold, he has accused her of misconduct, saying, I did not find in your daughter evidence of virginity, and yet this is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloak before the elders of the city. Then the elders of that city shall take the man and whip him. And they shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought a bad name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife. He may not divorce her all his days. But if the thing is true, that evidence of virginity was not found in the young woman, then they shall bring out the young woman to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done an outrageous thing in Israel by whoring in her father's house. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. If a man is found lying with the wife of another man, both of them shall die, the man who lay with the woman and the woman. So you shall purge the evil from Israel. If there is a betrothed virgin, and a man meets her in the city and lies with her, then you shall bring both of them to the gate of that city, and you shall stone them to death with stones. The young woman, because she did not cry for help, though she was in the city, the man, because he violated his neighbor's wife. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. But if in the open country a man meets a young woman who is betrothed, and the man seizes her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But you shall do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no offense, punishable by death. For this case is like that of a man attacking and murdering his neighbor, because he met her in the open country, and though the betrothed young woman cried for help, there was no one to rescue her. If a man meets a virgin who is not betrothed, and seizes her and lies with her, and they are found, then the man who lay with her shall give to the father of the young woman 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has violated her. He may not divorce her all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, so that he does not uncover his father's nakedness. No one whose testicles are crushed or whose male organ is cut off shall enter the assembly of Yahuwah. Oh my gosh. No one born of a forbidden union may enter the assembly of Yahuwah. Even to the 10th generation, none of his descendants may enter the assembly of Yahuwah. No Ammonite, no Moabite may enter the assembly of Yahuwah. Even to the 10th generation, none of them may enter the assembly of Yahuwah forever, because they did not meet you with bread and with water on the way when you came out of Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam, the son of Beor, from Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse you. But Yahuwah your God would not listen to Balaam. Instead, Yahuwah your God turned the curse into a blessing for you, because Yahuwah your God loved you. You shall not seek their peace or their prosperity all your days forever. You shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because you were a sojourner in his land. Children born to them in the 3rd generation may enter the assembly of Yahuwah. When you are encamped against your enemies, then you shall keep yourself from every evil thing. If any man among you becomes unclean because of a nocturnal emission, then he shall go outside the camp. He shall not come inside the camp, but when evening comes, he shall bathe himself in water, and as the sun sets, he may come inside the camp. You shall have a place outside the camp, and you shall go out to it. And you shall have a trowel with your tools, and when you sit down outside, you shall dig a hole with it and turn back and cover up your excrement. Because Yahuwah your God walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you and to give up your enemies before you. See that? Yahuwah delivers. Yahuwah is your Savior. There is nowhere where he says that a son is your deliverer. Nowhere. Therefore your camp must be holy, so that he may not see anything indecent among you and turn away from you. You shall not give up to his master a slave who has escaped from his master to you. He shall dwell with you in your midst, in the place that he shall choose within one of your towns. Wherever it suits him, you shall not wrong him. None of the daughters of Israel shall be a cult prostitute, and none of the sons of Israel shall be a cult prostitute. You shall not bring the fee of a prostitute or the wages of a dog into the house of Yahuwah your God in payment for any vow, for both of these are an abomination to Yahuwah your God. You shall not charge interest on loans to your brother, interest on money, interest on food, interest on anything that is lent for interest. You may charge a foreigner interest, but you may not charge your brother interest. That Yahuwah your God may bless you in all that you undertake in the land that you are entering to take possession of. If you make a vow to Yahuwah your God, you shall not delay fulfilling it, for Yahuwah your God will surely require it of you, and you will be guilty of sin. But if you refrain from vowing, you will not be guilty of sin. You shall be careful to do what has passed your lips, for you have voluntarily vowed to Yahuwah your God what you have promised with your mouth. If you go into your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat your fill of grapes, as many as you wish, but you shall not put any in your bag. If you go into your neighbor's standing grain, you may pluck the ears with your hand, but you shall not put a sickle to your neighbor's standing grain. Okay. When a man takes a wife and marries her, if then she finds no favor in his eyes, because he has found some indecency in her, and he writes her a certificate of divorce and puts it in her hand and sends her out of his house, and she departs out of his house, and if she goes and becomes another man's wife, and the latter man hates her and writes her a certificate of divorce and puts it in her hand and sends her out of his house, or if the latter man dies who took her to be his wife, then her former husband who sent her away may not take her again to be his wife after she has been defiled, for that is an abomination before Yahuwah. And you shall not bring sin upon the land that Yahuwah your God is giving you for an inheritance. When a man is newly married, he shall not go out with the army or be liable for any other public duty. He shall be free at home 1 year to be happy with his wife whom he has taken. No one shall take a mill or an upper millstone in pledge, for that would be taking a life in pledge. If a man is found stealing one of his brothers of the people of Israel, and if he treats him as a slave or sells him, then that thief shall die. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. Take care in a case of leprous disease to be very careful to do according to all that the Levitical priest shall direct you. As I commanded them, so you shall be careful to do. Remember what Yahuwah your God did to Miriam on the way as you came out of Egypt. When you make your neighbor a loan of any sort, you shall not go into his house to collect his pledge. You shall stand outside, and the man to whom you make the loan shall bring the pledge out to you. And if he is a poor man, you shall not sleep in his pledge. You shall restore to him the pledge as the sun sets, that he may sleep in his cloak and bless you. And it shall be righteousness for you before Yahuwah your God. You shall not oppress a hired worker, nor is poor and needy, or who is poor and needy, whether he is one of your brothers or one of the sojourners who are in your land within your towns. You shall give him his wages on the same day before the sun sets, for he is poor and counts on it, lest he cry against you to Yahuwah, and you be guilty of sin. Forefathers shall not be put to death because of their children, nor shall children be put to death because of their fathers. Each one shall be put to death for his own sin. Isn't that interesting? No man, not even one that you claim from the New Testament, can be put to death for your sin. Yahuwah says it. And if you want to argue with me and put your New Testament above Yahuwah, then you're running into some serious danger there. Because it's Yahuwah's words and his prophets that are what's supposed to be standing, not anything from a New Testament that was created by a bunch of pagan Greek scholars who worshipped a Greek god. Well, actually, they worship a ton of Greek gods. And then they're going to go and make this book and the world's going to listen to it? Well, of course, that's exactly what happened. And that's where we are today. The deception still rolls on. The modern day Baal, Jesus, is in the civilizations again, used to test Yahuwah's people again. And those people who do not return back to Yahuwah, you're gonna be destroyed. I'm sorry. That's what his word says. It's nothing that I'm just saying out of my own opinion. It's not anything that I'm saying because I feel like I should. I'm saying it because it's in Yahuwah's word and it's in his prophet's words. So if you're going to argue with me about that, it's pointless because I'm just a messenger. You should be addressing the person that sent the message out, not the messenger. Okay? Let's get that straight. You shall not pervert the justice due to the sojourner or to the fatherless, or take a widow's garment in pledge, but you shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt. And Yahuwah your God redeemed you from there. No, Jesus did not save you from that either. I command you to do this. When you reap the harvest in your field, and you forget to sheaf it in the field, you shall not go back to get it. It shall be for the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow, that Yahuwah your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you beat your olive trees, you shall not go over them again. It shall be for the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not strip it afterward. It shall be for the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command you to do this. If there is a dispute between men, and they come into court, and the judges decide between them, acquitting the innocent and condemning the guilty, then if the guilty man deserves to be beaten, the judge shall cause him to lie down and be beaten in his presence with a number of stripes in proportion to his offense. So Jesus came as saying that he was the Son of God, when the Jewish people knew that he wasn't, because Only Yahuwah can save. And here this man, Jesus, is claiming to be the Savior. When they know that Yahuwah is the only one they can save. We know this. And the only books that were around back then were what? The first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah, which we're reading right now. And you don't see no mention of a son given to come and die for your sins. That's stupid. That's blasphemy. Okay, and it says right here, if the guilty man deserves to be beaten, the judge shall cause him to lie down and be beaten in his presence with a number of stripes in proportion to his offense. So, the Jews were not doing anything different than what they would have done to somebody that they found lying. Okay? He was guilty. They only carried out the punishment. This wasn't some significant punishment that only took place with Jesus, okay? It says that this was an overall thing, okay? So, and this was the Torah, which was, what, 2,000 years? Or the New Testament didn't come out until 2,000 years, until after Jesus died? I mean, really? Put your faith in that kind of book? Okay. No thank you. 40 stripes may be given him, but not more, lest if one should go on to beat him with more stripes than those, your brother be degraded in your sight. You shall not muzzle an ox when it is treading out the grain. If brothers dwell together, and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the dead man shall not be married outside the family to a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her as his wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. And the first son whom she bears shall succeed to the name of his dead brother, that his name may not be blotted out of Israel. And if the man does not wish to take his brother's wife, then his brother's wife shall go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to perpetuate his brother's name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak to him, and if he persists, saying, I do not wish to take her, then his brother's wife shall go up to him in the presence of the elders, and pull his sandal off his foot, and spit in his face. And she shall answer and say, so shall it be done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. And the name of his house shall be called in Israel, the house of him who had his sandal pulled off. That's funny. When men fight with one another, and the wife of the one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of him who is beating him, and puts out her hand and seizes him by the private parts, then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye shall have no pity. And you shall not have in your bag 2 kinds of weights, a large and a small. If you shall not have in your house 2 kinds of measures, a large and a small, a full and fair weight you shall have, a full and fair measure you shall have, that your days may be long in the land that Yahuwah your God is giving you. For all who do such things, all who act dishonestly, are an abomination to Yahuwah your God. Remember what Amalek did to you on the way as you came out of Egypt, how he attacked you on the way when you were faint and weary, and cut off your tail, those who were lagging behind you, and he did not fear God. Therefore, when Yahuwah your God has given you rest from all your enemies, around you in the land that Yahuwah your God is giving you for an inheritance to possess, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under the heaven, and you shall not forget. Okay, that was the Torah portion. Let's do the Haftorah. And the Haftorah is Isaiah 54, 1 through 10. Sing, O barren one, who did not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud, you who have not been in labor. For the children of the desolate one will be more than the children of her who is married, says Yahuwah. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes, for you will spread abroad to the right and to the left, and your offspring will possess the nations, and will people the desolate cities. Fear not, for you will not be ashamed. Be not confounded, for you will not be disgraced, for you will forget the shame of your youth, and the reproach of your widowhood. you will remember no more. For your Maker is your husband, Yahuwah of hosts is his name, and the Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. The God of the whole earth, he is called. Okay, so he is, okay, see that? The God of the whole earth, he is called the Lord of hosts, or Yahuwah of hosts is his name. He is the Lord, right? The God of all the starry hosts. Let's not get that confused, okay? We're told this too. So I'm not making that up. We're told this in what? In Isaiah, right? We're told this in Isaiah, I believe it's 38 through 48 or something like that. Okay? So I'm not making this up. The God of the whole earth he is called. For Yahuwah has called you like a wife deserted and grieved in spirit, like a wife of youth when she is cast off, says Yahuwah. For a brief moment I deserted you, but with great compassion I will gather you. Okay, there is no way, okay, that says that a son is coming to atone you for your sins, and I'm going to take you back, but you're going to marry my son. It does not say that. Right here in Isaiah, we are reading this in the Torah portion, okay? For a brief moment I deserted you, but with great compassion I will gather you. In overflowing anger for a moment I hid my face from you, but with everlasting love I will have compassion on you, says Yahuwah, your Redeemer. This is like the days of Noah to me, as I swore that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth. So I have sworn that I will not be angry with you, and will not rebuke you, for the mountains may depart, and the hills be removed, but my steadfast love shall not depart from you, and my covenant of peace shall not be removed. Right? Says Yahuwah, who has compassion on you. Okay? So the covenant was made with David, the covenant of peace. And we know this because Ezekiel 37 tells us this. And we're told this in 2 Samuel. It's not rocket science, you guys. This is David, who is the Messiah. We just read, there is no mention of a son given to atone you for your sins anywhere. So you guys need to stop making these things up, because Yahuwah is going to get really pissed off. I mean, we're already seeing it in the weather. Things are being destroyed. And it's because of Yahuwah's people who are in idolatry, who don't care. Now Yahuwah is speaking through his storms. He's speaking through the weather patterns. And you know what? You're bringing it upon yourself. You're bringing it upon yourself because you want to sit there and act like there is somebody else in Yahuwah's name when he says, don't do it. Don't do it. But how is anybody going to listen if all they've been used to is receiving grace? Well, your grace is going to be gone now. If you want to keep claiming Yahusha, which is Yah is salvation, Yahuwah is salvation, you're not claiming any name in that. You're just saying that Yahuwah is salvation, which is stupid. I mean, you can say it, it's not hurting anything. But the fact that you tie it to the New Testament of where Jesus, you replace Yahusha with Jesus. How does that make you any different than the Christians? They're not trying to cover up what the New Testament says, but you are. You're trying to Christianize or messianicize it, if that's even a word, from Christianizing. And that is really, really blasphemy to Yahuwah, because he doesn't claim anything in the New Testament. Just maybe the Torah laws, obviously, because what is a deception? You can't have a deception without having a little bit of truth, okay? Otherwise, the deception doesn't work. Okay, what's the definition of deception? Definition of deception is truth with a little bit of a lie to twist it. Maybe not the exact definition, but if you look it up, it is the overall definition. It was a deceiving moment in something that is truthful. So, a little bit of a truth mixed with a lie. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the Torah portion here and the Haftorah. I hope everyone has a good night. Shalom.